Hello, everybody. Good morning, or good day, whatever time it is for you, right? Because we are all over the place in these spaces. So I love that. So welcome to this space on April 14th of 24. I have some amazing things I want to share with you guys today. Some very important information, priceless, really, that God wants me to talk about and to share. But in the meantime, I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes to open up the energy. I have my crown chakra bowl that I will lightly be playing because I don't want to overload the volume or the microphone. And we will wait to see who comes on. I know Roger put in the comments that his birthday is today, so he should be here hopefully, which is also my son's birthday tomorrow. Hello, Amy. How are you? You guys, I also have to tell you that my beautiful twin soul's presence is with us. I feel it. His love has just been flooding in since right before I came on here. And so I just want to give space for that. It's very beautiful. I love him so much. And our bond to me is getting stronger and stronger. So with that, I am blessed. Yeah, my middle turns 16 tomorrow. So all these birthdays, but there's something really important too I want to talk about that actually deal with the return of Christ and this date. It's pretty cool. and I didn't put that together until right before I came on. God said, look at this. And I'm like, oh, more awesome proof to what I've done and what's coming. So today in history is also a very important day. It is now officially 11:11 in the morning in the AM where I am. I don't know what time it is for you, but good morning, good evening, and good day. For those who don't know me, I encourage you to check out my channel because I am not... it's normal to hear about the return of Christ stuff right now, but it's not normal to hear about the steps that it took to make it. And that's been my journey. Okay. They want me to say it again. I am the return of Christ. I know, and happy birthday to your mama. Why do I say that? That's hard for me to say. It's actually Spirit that likes me to say that way because it's true. And I have to own it too. And believe me, I have tried to prove everything I did to be false, right? Because it's not normal. It's just not. So I encourage you to just be open-minded, right? Even my 21-year-old, he's about to be 22, is definitely, he doesn't fully understand, right? But he knows that things are not normal, and he knows his mom is not kukuluku. So even he is trying to open up more to it and to understand it more. All right. So really quick, today is a very important day in history. Some of you may not remember or realize or put it together. Not only is tomorrow our tax day, there's a reason it is that way, right? Oh, absolutely. So Steve is here today. You guys don't know him. He's never been to one of my lives, but he's a very important person to me. Him and his wife, Layla. So is she with me right now? Is she with you right now, Steve? If you guys don't mind, I might need to start with a healing, and then we can get into the important information that God wants us to know. Okay. I just got chills. This is a necessity. Okay. It's for her. When are you going to get one, Mr. Steve? I'm just saying, you do so much for her. Bless your heart. Okay. These are actually clients of mine, you guys, and they don't always come to my live. And I was actually thinking of you. I know you guys messaged me and I said, make it to a live. I know you do. The love between you two is palpable. It is absolutely insurmountable love. And I get a lot of chills when I say that. So if everybody doesn't mind, please stick around because I'm going to start out with a live healing on her. It's only going to be maybe 30 minutes because I feel like that's what she needs. And if you guys are willing to please stick around through that, I have some very important stuff to talk about. Okay. Good morning, Lisa. Okay. All right. So like I said, Steve and his beautiful wife are clients of mine. I've been doing, I told you guys not everybody comes to the lives and the videos. Okay. I do work with people often on healings. These are very real. So I ask that you hold space for them. And just know that what God wants to keep in their heart is private, won't come through. But what They are willing to be present for Will because it is alive. Okay. This is not the first healing I have done on Miss Layla. And, hopefully I will see them for many more moons to come. They are some of my favorite people. They have so much love in their heart. Some of the purest of divine presence. So I welcome them. I will do a quick healing on her. Okay. All right. That's what we're going to do. So I'm switching gears. Forgive me. Please understand, if you guys are in the chat and somebody joins, can you please let them know what I'm doing? Amy and Lisa, you guys are very familiar with the way I work, and my eyes will be closed, and I just want people to understand, okay? Then we're going to talk about what God wants me to talk about today, and in the end, I might be able to do another healing, okay? All right, thank you. So let me get some protections here. Excuse me, they're well aware of my burping. So Steve, is she ready? Are you guys ready? I'm just going to get right into it because I feel like that's what you're here for, and I'm so glad you're here. I told them to come to one of my lives, and here they are. So, all right. Okay, very ready. All right, so let's do this. I don't know what has been ailing her at this time. I don't need to know, but I have, like I said, worked with her before. All right, so we're just going to get into it. So I need to draw a salt line. That's what they're calling it. And I don't normally start out this way for healing for her, but that's what Spirit is showing me I need to do. So I'm literally putting like this beautiful salt line around her. I'm also removing like 3, what I want to call shadow pieces, but it's not that. I don't want you to be like worried. But this is like past pieces. They need to go. They need to dissipate. So past lives, you can call them many things. It's just energy within her that needs to be removed. Excuse me. So for this one, I'm going to connect her to the sequoia trees, but I'm also going to draw some straight light down through her. But I need to open up her head space right away. So my head kind of hurts as I'm coming down into her head space, and it's right towards my ear. Like it's coming down and into my ear, and it doesn't feel very good. And then I'm like nervous. So let's just calm the energy. We are in a safe, protected space, and any ill will towards the work that I do just cannot be present. Okay. I put up so much protection around these two, Steve and Layla. Especially, excuse me. Just slowing down, calming the energy. She's very anxious. I feel that. There's a lot of anxious energy. I feel that. So I need to calm that down. And also nervous being here today. And that's expected. That's understandable because this is a live forum. And we are not used to that. We usually do this in a one-on-one. So I understand that too. So I'm putting up some more protection and just calming that energy, and just trust that you are protected and in a safe space of honesty and purity and nothing outside of free will ever. So if there's anything per se that comes through and Spirit says keep it private, I will just email it to you after. But for the most part, we should be fine. So I'm bringing down this light. So there's a lot going on. I've got a circle of salt kind of going around her. It's like this most pure, almost like sea salt. It's very white. It's very chunky. It's very pure. And it's going around her in a circle of like protection. And from that, this beautiful dome of light is coming around her. And it's very calming. It's very calming. And I have like the sequoia tree roots starting to inch their way towards her feet because they're going to help me draw out these, I want to call them shadow pieces. That's how they're reflecting, but I feel like it's just past lives. She just needs to release those in the energy. But that's not all we're doing, okay? That's just the start so that I could do the healing. So I'm bringing down the light through her crown. And again, I'm going very gentle here because my head feels pressure. I feel a lot of pressure in my head and in my skull, in my brain area, and especially towards the right side and towards the back side, towards my brainstem. And I need to bring blue healing light here as well as green healing light here, right at the back of my brainstem. and it hurts. It feels a little swollen. And so I'm able, as I'm doing that, it's calming this whole space. And I'm also heightening the gray matter. I feel like the gray matter between the brain and the skull is thin, and I need to make it a little thicker. So I'm heightening the gray matter. I don't know how else to explain that, but I am. I'm just bringing life to it. And then it's like a weird headache, right? Like I'm getting a weird headache that I'm not familiar with. I don't know how to pinpoint what it is. So like when you look for certain types of headaches, it's like I can't tell you what kind of headache this is. It just my head just hurts. And so I'm bringing the light down now from the crown into the third eye, into the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, and the epiglottis. So I need to also do some hormone release. So I'm going straight to the liver and the kidneys with this space. And I'm drawing like a circular light. It's like stirring the cauldron type of a thing. And I'm getting her body to release some hormones. Like a slow, methodical release that will continue. And then I'm bringing the light down from there into the throat space. Down into the throat space. A lot of angst, and I tighten up here, but I don't always speak my truth. So Layla isn't always telling you what she's going through, because sometimes she doesn't understand it or know how to articulate it. So I'm drawing that light there, but now I'm also going down from the throat into the heart, and I'm opening up her energy because I need to anchor into the sequoia tree roots so that these past lives can process out. I'm just removing them. They're not, there's no lessons here. They just need to go, no. Okay, so I'm going to say a word, but I don't want you to think anything negative about it. It's a positive thing. So she is transitioning, okay, but she's transitioning into a higher light. I hope that makes sense. She's not, I will see you again and again, okay? But I feel like the transition is like you are coming into a higher light frequency. I hope that makes sense. It does for me because I've worked with you many times. So, of course, that makes absolute sense to me. But I hope it does to you because you are becoming more of a higher frequency body. And so I'm in the heart space, and I feel like it's a little dull. Like I'm lacking feeling my emotions very well, almost like stunted, right? Like I don't necessarily feel joy. I don't necessarily feel extreme measures of any emotion. It's almost like an even keel thing, but anxiety is there. So I'm balancing the heart space. And then I'm also going directly to her heart. So I'm in the heart chakra, but I'm going directly to her heart. And I need to cleanse the aortic valve a little bit. So sometimes we get like mucusy and our body doesn't function properly because of that. And I feel like that's because of all of the fake in our reality, right? It's almost like we're constantly in an allergic reaction state a lot of times for a lot of people. Dairy, just different things in the air. When you genetically modify things, it messes with our systems, no matter who you are. No matter what you do, we are all walking this planet. And so there's just heightened sensitivity here for that. So I don't see it's like nothing major, but I need to remove this mucus from my aortic valve. So almost like my heart has skipped beats, a little bit of hot flashy because of the hormones imbalance. And so I might be getting night sweats and some heart palpitations, and then some pains into my arm and shoulder at times. And then my elbow is also being heightened again. So my right elbow is just aching really bad all of a sudden. So I'm drawing some light there. So I'm going to quickly dump all that light into the earth. Boom, just right down her system, boom, into the earth and into the tree sequoia, because I need to draw out these past lives. So it's the energy of the roots are going to draw down those they look like shadow pieces, right? They just don't matter anymore. And so they're going to release gently as I do this healing. Okay? All right. So that part is anchored in, and now I'm going to draw the light up further into the feet from the earth, the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips. And I'm in my hips. I'm in my backside, like at my hip, and towards my coccyx, and at the bottom of my spinal column, and my sciatica, and down into my feet and my ankles. Now I have to remove some toxins. So the body is trying to expel some toxins as well. So I'm going to bring in the mineral-rich soil. This is high in iron and beautiful minerals and sediments of the earth, because she is so pure now. She's not like what she once was. She is a beautiful healing source, more than ever before. So I'm going to draw up this energy, and it's going to go in through your feet, through your bone marrow, and into your blood flow. Now, how bone marrow connects with the production of blood, it does. It's just the way our body works. I'm not a doctor, but it's what I see. Every time I try to cleanse the blood and want the body to reproduce full-bodied red blood cells and T cells, I go to the bone marrow first. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm drawing it through the bone marrow and into her blood, and just to help to detox, I need to detox it. Some of this was due to like past medications. I feel like antibiotics and things, we just need to get them out of there. It's making me feel yucky and very nauseous. I'm going to slow down so that you guys can keep up with me. I can't see, and I know I'm on a live, so I'm like, I hope it's not cutting in and out. I'm just giving up grace and space for everything working beautifully. And I'm calming the energy. This is uncomfortable a little bit, but I'm glad you guys are here, right? Like I feel that. But I got to go right to my intestinal tract. So I'm going to draw the light up the colon. And right as I'm entering the colon, I see a small polyp. Am I saying that? Polyp. And it's small. It almost looks like what a wart would look like on our skin. Not a wart, like a mole, like a small brown mole or something. But it doesn't matter. I don't feel like it's anything concerning. I just need to get it out. But I have to dig in a little bit to remove it completely. So this can mess with your BMs. So high in fiber. Okay. Make sure that you're not straining. Just try not to strain. Just some fiber and lots of water. And then Pedialyte, because I feel like we're dehydrated. But I feel like that's a natural state, almost like your body's not absorbing what it should naturally and easily all the time. And so even when I'm taking in water, sometimes it can be difficult to stay hydrated. So a regular dose of a ginger ale, I think I've said this before, but also some like Pedialyte. Okay. So I'm in like that polyp, and I'm removing it, but I'm starting to draw the light further up the colon and through the colon. And this is also, the blood is coming through again. So I'm doing more detoxing of the blood as I'm going. And I'm calming the energy. I got to stay calm and slow down so that way I can do as much as I can in enough time frame for her to handle without being done. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to cross that line of I'm just done and then it blocks. So I'm here. Emotions also might be heightened. So I don't know if we're waking up very sad or if we're having moments of a lot of tear release, but I just want to say it's okay. I want to say this has to do with the transitioning phase that she's going through. And it's like, just old pieces of ourselves are being let go, right? And I don't want to use terms that create fear, because I'm anchoring you here right now, right? You know what I mean? So you're okay, but I feel like there is this grief, this processing of past Also, I feel like the healings that we're doing are quite intense at times. And so her body with processing it also is a part of that emotional release, if that is what's happening. I don't know. It's just what I'm saying. So I'm back through into the colon and into the intestines. Now, as soon as I go into my intestines, I'm bloated. I feel like this again has to do with the gut brain connection. Like there's times where my brain misfires a little bit and it's not sending the proper signals to my gut health. Does that make sense? I know that's a weird concept, but it's true. Our brain tells our gut a lot and our gut tells our brain a lot, and they co-communicate. And sometimes if those signals misfire, it can cause what they would like call IBS and different things like that. Not saying she has that. I'm just saying there's a misfire in the communication. So as I'm into the intestines, I'm going into the brain, into the myelin sheath, and I'm strengthening that so that messengers can cross the barrier. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So I need like this blood-brain barrier, like a myelin sheath. I need it to be strengthened so that the messenger synapses can cross any barriers of the body with more ease and grace. And that way the signals can come down and our body knows what to do. And this is also going to the brain stem. So I'm like going up the spinal column into the brain stem. And I am at her intestines at the same time. And this is very strange. It's almost like I'm sending an electrical signal, an electrical pulse to connect the two even more. So it's like, psst. I don't know how else to explain that. I'm just zapping it with light. I'm creating a very stronger connection, but then also strengthening the myelin sheath so that it passes through that barrier. Okay. And my head hurts. It's slightly swollen, especially on the right side. I feel like my brain, it just hurts my brain. It's not my skull, like my brain. And so I'm sending a lot of light. It has to go through the stem and through the right intricate waving tissues of the brain. But also that deals with the gray matter, just like I said before. So we're strengthening that also. Okay. And then again, I'm drawn to her playing in dirt. Like I need to pot things. I need to create with the earth. It's really going to help me. Like maybe a little garden or a little a small greenhouse or something where I can just grow life. And I'm getting so much chills. Like I need to produce life for her. Okay. So now I'm drawing a light up the intestines. And as I do more, I feel the bloating happening. I need to go to her gallbladder and her appendix areas and detox. And I got a lot of tears falling down my face. We're trying to hurry because I feel like I'm just, it's a lot. So I do see the energy of the releasing happened. There are 2 that have been removed of like the past life energy of just parts of self that no longer are needed. Oh, so sorry for that. But it's happening very gently. So sometimes this is quite an intense release. So understand that I'm putting a lot of gentle light around her so that she processes it a little more slowly than most people would. So it's not jolting to her system in any way, shape, or form. And Steve, I'm being drawn to your heart. There's a lot of stress there. So just so you know, you can always make space to come to one of these for you. Okay. I'm open. You matter too, sunshine. All right. So I'm in the intestines and I'm drawing light up the small intestinal tract. And where it connects to the large intestinal tract, they're kind of intricately woven in certain spaces. And so I'm healing those spaces. Also, there's something about rupture and sepsis. Hang on here. I'm trying to get this clear. So I'm in the intestines and I almost feel like there's like a tear. What would they call that? I'm not getting the medical term or anything, but there's like a tear in there, so like a rupture, and then like a would cause like sepsis. So if our urine will not go where it needs to, if there's like a tear between that wall, or if our toxins aren't being filtered, those different things can cause what they would call sepsis. It's almost like an infection of the system because it's not eliminating waste properly. And this would technically be something that they would do surgery on, but I'm not a surgeon, right? So I'm just going to fix it my way. But I see this tear, and it's like towards the colon where the small intestines and the large intestines kind of coagulate. I don't know, cooperate with each other. I feel like there's like a tear. So almost like we get like a paper cut, right? It's very thin, very minuscule, almost something you wouldn't notice until it would be too late in the medical field, right? This could cause weird issues with like the restroom type stuff. It can cause you to feel like you have to go a lot and nothing's coming out. It could cause you to feel very nauseous, lose your appetite. It can mess with your sleep. It can make us start to feel like we have the flu. And then it can also give you that metallic taste. What? That's what I'm hearing. It can make things taste like metallic-y, almost like you're sucking on a penny. And as I'm doing that, I need to cleanse the liver and kidneys. This is a necessity, so I can't rush too much through this pace, but I feel like this is the most important part of today's healing. I feel like it could have occurred just from strain, from trying to push, from being backed up from our body, just not getting the signals properly. And then our lower system doesn't process properly because it's not getting the proper signals from the brain. Gut brain health is very important for that reason. So I feel like I'm tissue repairing. That's kind of the way I see it. Like I'm regenerating the tissues of the intestinal wall. Almost like it almost looks like they're coming back together. Like I told them to heal and repair. So that's what it looks like in my eye, while I'm in your system. And my kidneys, I need my kidneys flushed. So it's like almost like backaches too, and even some cramping possible. And that is, it's like when we get, sometimes sepsis can infect us there. It can affect our whole entire body, but our liver and kidneys become bogged down as well from things, especially the gut brain connection not being accurate all the time. Now, I feel like this is just part of, like consider as sicknesses occur and damage occurs to the body, it's in layers. So as we heal, it has to be done in layers. So at one point where the damage came with the brain or something, it stopped the connection. And so it sends signals. Now consider energy keeps moving. Okay. So it never stops. So it has to be undone in the way it was done. Does that make sense? And so that's why there's layers to everything, and one can affect each other and so on. I hope that made sense. Now the veins. I'm going to the veins in my arm, and I need to almost widen them, but also just make them more free flowing. So I'm like in the central nervous system, the CNS, the neurological system, and then also from the heart out. So our pulmonary system, all of that. I'm drawing this light through it. And I feel like it's expanding. So vasodilation, it's like expanding. And my head, there's my head again. I feel like this really weird, painful pressure at the back of my head towards my spinal column and my brain stem. And I need to send a lot of light signals. These are healing. They're very gentle. I need to heal this space. There was damage there from before, but I need to heal it. I need to heal more layers of it. It's like very deep tissue damage. So that way the signals can continue processing. And that myelin sheath is strengthening. That's also part of a heart connection there. Our body is so intricately woven. And then I have to go back to my intestines. So this is now coming up towards my stomach area that I'm drawing the light up to. And that's where I now feel the pressure. So she carries her stress in her gut. That's where she carries her stress. And sometimes in the shoulders and the head and stuff. But I feel like it really does hit her solar plexus or her gut. And so I'm drawing around like this protection around it, because when that occurs with the healing of the brain signals, it messes. It's like skipping a beat sometimes. And right away, my gut started feeling lighter, just lighter, less bloated. My head still hurts. It feels pretty wonky. And I'm back to the liver and kidneys, and I need to flush, cleanse, and flush out, cleanse and flush out. And I need to draw an expansive in the ureter. So I need to expand her ureter tract into her urethra and her bladder. And then I'm balancing the pH in the system and drawing more toxins down the legs. So your connection to sequoia trees are no longer needed. That part is done. So I'm detaching you from there. And I'm leaving a gentle connection into the earth. This transition is difficult, but necessary. It's important. It's relevant. Okay. It's a blessing. It's a good thing, not a bad one, but it can be hard on our system because we have to process things and let ourselves expand and let go of who we once were, type of a thing. How do I make sense of this? So when we get emotional and we cry, some of our senses change and shift within our brain. And so I'm helping that, like an emotional connection with the brain system, right? There it goes back to the signals and how our brain communicates with our body. And that way our brain knows what to do and how to handle the emotional transitions with a little more ease and grace. So it's not so hard and jolting on her system. I hope that makes sense. And then I'm going to give a lot of love to her tummy and her gut. Lots of love. And again, I'm in my stomach fluids and I need to replace them. So they almost look like green sludgy, and I'm just going to completely replace them. And what's happening is there's a misfire sometimes with the gut brain health. So our brain is not fully understanding what's going on with the gut, and it doesn't always feel good at all when that happens. And again, it's like unfolding what was once folded. I hope that makes sense too. So bear with me. I'm going to be in the stomach for a minute and drawing a lot of beautiful light. But as I'm replacing the, it's like an acid solution type stuff that's in our stomach, and it helps break down foods properly. And sometimes with what's going on, I feel like that gets a little bit too acidic. Like it becomes like this green sludgy looking stuff. Like I went into a sewer I don't want to be in, kind of a depiction. And it feels sour sometimes, very sour. Ginger, garlic, arugula, asparagus, beetroot juice, colloidal silver, a little integration of that. And please do some celery juice, celery water to help rebuild the cellular structure continually of the brain and the gut health. And carrot juice as well. without sugar. These are like pure. You can get them. You can even get little concoctions of them. Just make sure it doesn't have no fructose syrups, no sugars, because with her brain, you want some sugars, but the natural way. So you can get those in apples and fruits and things like that. Coconut, oh, that has the proper glucose for the brain. Okay. And then I almost need like different kinds of funguses incorporated into my food. So that would be like some certain mushrooms or some certain sprouts. I'm seeing like the sprouts. I would assume that's what I'm seeing. The sprouts, Brussels sprouts. That would also be very helpful. I would avoid meat substances as much as possible. I feel like that's easy though. All right, so one more time. I feel like my stomach's already feeling better. I had to replace the fluids and I had to heal some things within my gut and then into my colon. And so now I'm just going to send a light all the way through. And I'm removing some gases that are backed up in there and some funkiness, just some funky energy, some like sepsis type stuff. Just removing it. Uh, 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 uh. And then I'm back to my elbow, and I'm going to give it a lot of love, and up into my shoulder and my collarbones. They feel just frail. And so I'm giving them a lot of love into my shoulder and my neck. I'm almost done. I can feel like we're about done. Like she is just about done, but I have to give just a lot of love to my bones. So in my rib cage, my collarbone, and up into my neck, my cervical column. I need to strengthen that a little bit, and then even up into my skull. So my skull thinned out as well during the beginning stages of this thing that we have been healing. So I don't even want to give it a name because it won't exist anymore. But it's in my skull, and so I need to thicken that just slightly, not too much. That has to be done in very intricate measurements. And so I'm just causing the skull structure to start to strengthen. And the way I see that is like when our bones become porous, they get a lot more holes. It's like holes. And so where I see the holes, I'm starting to fill with light. So it would be like bone marrow type stuff, collagen, and things that really truly cause our bones to thicken, not cow's milk. That's not even in existence when I talk about that. Ooh, the lies they tell. Okay. A lot more love through the intestines, the elbow, my coccyx, my hips, a little bit of my knee, just a little bit of my ankle, and then another hormone surge. So through my kidneys, my liver, into my epiglottis, my pineal gland. I'm a low on even my, not just estrogen, but also testosterone. It's just a little low on everything. And then my melanin is off balance. Bantaba kontu uti kunta uai tu bianta konta. So, Steve, with your permission, I'm just going to slowly send some light into your heart, if I have your permission. I feel like I do. I'm not looking, but I'm just going to gently draw some into your heart. You are very selfless. You give every bit of who you are for everybody else. And it's just a little bit of support into your heart. Okay. If you ever want one of these, I'm here. You guys, I will do anything for you. Okay. So no worries. Very special to me, and I could cry. It's like I feel the love and the beauty of who you guys are. It's like, I wish people would learn that love. Okay, I'm sorry. Mm. As I'm exiting, I feel a little pressure in the head space, so just be really gentle on yourself. Very gentle. I have to quit now. That's a lot. I feel like you're done and I'm done. So I'm going to start removing my energy, and I'm going to continue the healing light through you and a little bit of light into Steve's heart. Not too much, just enough support. And I feel a little nauseous. So take it easy on yourself. All of the nutrients that I mentioned will help. I'm just drawing back my energy completely, separating yours from mine, making sure yours is with you. I'm just so emotional. I'm so emotional. I'm sorry. I just love them so much. Oh, I'm crying with you. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know where that came from. Oh. Sorry, guys. Yes, I came on today to deliver some very special information, and some very special guests came and needed a healing, and I have been telling them to come to the lives, and I kept thinking about them, and I feel like we kept missing it. So I'm thankful, and I wanted to make sure they got what they needed. Very beautiful souls. I just love you guys. Take it easy, okay? If you have any questions, email me. Bless you. Oh, Roger, happy birthday. You guys, I have some really cool stuff to talk about. I love you, Steve. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Layla. Sending you so much love and angels and kisses and joy. You guys are such a beauty. Like, seriously, if I could put your love for the whole world to say, hey, this is how we should love, oh my gosh, like I would. So thank you for being here. That was beautiful. Quite emotional. Forgive me. Okay. Transitioning. So do you guys know what today is in history, by the way? I don't know if you do. Not only is it Roger's birthday, it's Amy's mom's birthday tomorrow. It's my middle's birthday tomorrow. He turned 16. So there's a lot of birthdays going on right now. But in history, there's something very important happening that actually occurred with clearing Mount Shasta. Now, in the Return of Christ work, right? Mount Shasta was a part of that. That was one of the very first major shadow pieces that was removed. Now, today in history, in 1865, I do believe, on this day, John Wilkes Booth killed Abraham Lincoln. Now, I need to talk about that first. Yep, Abraham Lincoln's assassination. You got it. So I have to talk about that really quick. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to clear what it means to clear karma for the ascension, right? God gave me some really important information that I feel like everybody can use. Really super important. And we're here to hang out. And then in the end, if anybody shows up, I don't know if I did my healing for today. We'll see how this one ends out. That was very special though. I'm gonna get my sip of water. I'm shaking, you guys. I love them deeply. I told you I work with lots of people. They don't always come to the lives. Okay. So are there people out there that work with me? Absolutely, regularly. For the past few years, I do healings for all kinds of people. I don't care who you are. I don't care what it is. It's almost like two separate worlds a little bit, right? We have the Return of Christ stuff, and then I have healings that I truly do for people. And these are amazing things that we as a team in doing these healings take time to process because they're very real. They're very beyond what meets the eye. So I'm thankful for them. So you're kind of getting to see both worlds today. However, today in history, John Wilkes Booth murdered Abraham Lincoln. That's important. Let me tell you why. When I started doing the Return of Christ stuff, it came through in a process. First was my own awakening, right? Where I would see these things were happening to me. I was connecting with spirits. I'd never done that before. I thought something was wrong with me. I really did. So there was a little investigation, right? Also in that time frame. But as I was doing things, I would get images, like the Bible being one of them, and words popping off. God showed me it's not all real. So we have to be careful with that. And then one of the other images that I got, besides being able to like astral travel outside of myself, I talk about that too. Like I can literally go outside of myself just during a meditation very easily. And I would do healings that way at first. And I was like, what is happening? And people were trying to tell me it was remote viewing. I was like, no, that's not remote viewing. It's a little bit more than that. And so it is what it is. So that was happening. Then another thing that I saw, do you know where Abraham Lincoln is standing or sitting in that big chair behind the pillars? What is that? Can you guys tell me? Because I didn't really know what that meant at first, but that's what I saw. I saw him sitting on the chair and I saw the big pillars. And this was before I did Mount Shasta. This was before, by the way, somebody else painted this before I did the work. Okay. Not a joke. And the Bible talks about like the seals broken, the red dragon, the blue dragon, the deep blue sea. And that all actually plays out on my channel. So this is relevant. The Lincoln Memorial. See, I don't know this stuff. I just know what God shows me. So one of the first things I saw was those pillars crumbling. And I guess that's the Lincoln Memorial. At first I was like, cool, I'm demolishing the White House. And somebody had to tell me, no, that's the Lincoln Memorial. And I didn't put it together yet because it hadn't happened yet. Okay. Then I started like clearing Mount Shasta, part 1 and part 2. Very relevant. Very relevant. Okay. You want to call a red dragon? I would say this is a part of that. So as we know, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Now they tell you that he undid slavery. What he wanted to do was vastly different from what they did, and they used his name to do it. Okay. So who he is in spiritual form probably was relevant. I don't know all the details because I wasn't alive then. I can only tell you what I undid in it and then what is written in history about it. So in 1863, that is when the first part of that contract that I undid was written. When I cleared Mount Shasta, I started clearing all of this darkness. That's when I removed all the souls from Mount Shasta. They were trapped. It was not of light at all. And in part 1 and 2, they're both relevant. Okay. I started undoing contracts. And the first one that I undid went back to Lincoln. And you guys can watch this. And I'm like, I thought he was good. Well, he was assassinated because he went against with what they were doing for a reason. Okay. We've been lied to. You guys have been fed poison upon poison for many moons. All right. That's what they did. And the Bible is a false doctrine. Okay. Where they use little fragments of truth to really anchor people in. And when you put this with what happened with Jesus, it's like even deeper, right? But really quick, I just want you guys to understand that today is relevant for a reason. We've got all these birthdays too. But in part Mount Shasta 1 and 2, when you put them together, Samael was burned. He was the original fallen angel in part 2. But in part 1, I took us back to Abraham Lincoln's contract. Now, when you truly put it all together and you look at it, what he did was freed the slaves of those that were going against the United States. Okay, so it wasn't meant to be like releasing slavery. He wanted it to be, but that's probably why he was assassinated, because he didn't like what they were really doing. Anytime in history anybody goes against, they were killed. Okay, so this is the day he was murdered. In 1865. And then the day after that is when they changed it into the 8th Amendment and they made it something that we didn't know the truth of. Okay. And it basically helped to enslave all of mankind instead of just one color. Hence tax day on the 15th and all of this governmental control. Right. And so, okay, fine. If we can't do this in the public eye, we're going to do this and make it bigger and make you think we're doing good. So Abraham Lincoln's contract was undone in Mount Shasta Part 1. And then in Part 2, Archangel Samael's was undone, in which he burned. So it's all relevant, and that was all part of this false veil of false truth. Okay? Number 1. Thought I would throw it in there. Any questions about that part? Now I'm going to teach you how to understand karma and what it means to really truly repent, which is a false word. But to heal it, right? To return back to love. Because when I tell you repentance is a low vibration, that's true. But there's also, a way to heal it the right way. Okay? There is a way to recognize what we have done outside of love. That's what creates karma. Okay? So in history, what they have done outside of love created the shackles that bind, and also created your karma when we don't know what we're doing and we go along with it. Okay? Some knew what they were doing and most didn't. Right? It's making sense so far. I want this to be fun and a chill zone today. So any questions, let me know. Thank you for being patient through the healing. That was much needed. But literally, one of the first things I saw crumble wasn't the White House. It was the Lincoln Memorial. Right? This should kind of be like, things that make you go, And then when you know what happened to Jesus, so that's what the Bible talks about, slaying the red dragon, the blue dragon. The deep blue sea was the twin flames, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, me and my DM part. That one unfolded. They all unfolded on this channel. Okay, so you can watch them. You can process this. You can truly see the return of Christ. I can't deny it. It is what it is. That's why I tell you guys I prove it, but we're not used to that. We're so used to the lies, the deceit, the control. The false prophets speak all this stuff and without proof. But I speak this stuff which goes against it, and I have proof, but that's so hard because we're so anchored in to all of those dark contracts and the dark veil and the untruth of what God really is. And that's what I keep trying to show, but it takes us a while to understand. Okay, so there's not we can just go and get all this information and go, I get it now. It has to be processed. Okay, so take it piece by piece for the levels that you can and you're ready to see. All right, that's my advice. And don't let the shadow stop you, because it will. It doesn't like the truth. It doesn't want the truth coming out for a reason, because then you have your power back. And then you clear your karma and you rise and they fall. And that's what's happening. Okay. All very relevant, which is going to lead me into what is karma? How do we clear it? What is an awakening? Do y'all know what an awakening truly is, or what causes an awakening? I do. And some probably do, right? Because it's happened. This isn't the first time, but we're going into a mass awakening now because we're detaching you from the false reality and forcing you to look within. So an awakening occurs when we begin to take our focus within instead of our outside in the false world. They don't like that. That's why we're always medicated. That's why we're always in a fear zone, why they're trying to always push fear on you. And, if you don't dunk your head in water, you're going to go to hell. And, oh my gosh, if you don't do this, and you better repent and beg for forgiveness, and, kiss my ass. It's not real. Okay. So when we start detaching from all of that, our soul knows it. Our soul constantly feels like we are enslaved. Like, why do I have to suffer? Why do I have to do these things? It doesn't feel right. Our soul at the soul level knows that it's not right, right? That's why a lot of us tend to have mental breaks and then we break free if we're not too medicated. That's what they do. They push medications. They push all these things to keep you outside of your body, okay? That's what sparks an awakening. I'm starting to go within. And I'm starting to question the world around me because it doesn't align what's within. Boom. You're starting to wake up. You're starting to come out of the false veil. Now you'll do that more every layer. Okay. Every portal, every energy shift, you should be doing that. That's why God says, go within. Always meditate, calm the mind. I don't like the word meditate because that alone sparks confusion on what it means. I like to call it stillness. So I have people a lot of times ask me, how do I meditate to do this? Don't. Meditate to meditate. Be in stillness. Heal to heal. They're two different things. And they are two different layers of consciousness. Okay? Understood that? So an awakening occurs when we begin to take our focus within instead of outside in our false world, which is happening to the whole entire world because your false world is falling. Yes, exactly, Roger. He says, detach from the illusion that you see with your eyes. Exactly. And that will start to wake up the mind's eye, which scientifically is proven that that is where our soul like connects, right? It's becoming more and more known. And they are proving there's a soul and all this kind of stuff, okay? So it's there, all right? So we start to detach from the illusion that our eyes see with, and we start to go within. Have you ever heard of the saying, the universe is within you? Those that did the ascension work with me, the return of Christ stuff with me, know this by now. Because essentially, I take the universe space dust, and that's how I upgrade your chakras. I literally take the universal flow and the planets, right? So as I took us into 7D, I realigned more planets, and the energy goes into our chakra system. So you are pretty much walking fragments of the universal flow. You're powerful. Okay. You are connected. This is how we're all connected. Okay. Is that making sense? I'm going to give that a space. It's a lot of deep information. I know. I'm taking you right to the hub of the hub. Talk about layer bypassing. But those who work with me might get this by now, right? It does make sense. That's why they tell you the universe is within you. This is why they keep you outside of yourself in a division and in fear. Because all of those are a very low vibration, and all of your power has been taken away because we're all connected. So if we turn against each other where we're connected, we lose our power and we hurt each other and we create more karma. Then they create fear. If you don't do this, oh, you're going to do this is going to happen to you. It's fear. God would never tell you, hey, dunk your head in water, you're going to go to hell. God says, I love you. Just be love. Light bulb. Okay. All we know to do is to judge because that's what they teach you God does, and he does not do that. Okay. Once we go within, we start learning where we're outside of self-love, and it's hard. And that's where we start to process emotions that we usually run from because that's what we're taught to do from a young age. Think about all the layers of that. Don't cry. I got told that. I'm a girl. Don't cry. There's no crying in baseball. I used to love baseball. And I got line drives to the shin. And even my dad would say, don't cry, toughen up. So from a very young age, we are taught to dumb the emotions. You're too emotional. You're too sensitive. That's why they call sensitive people empaths. What you're essentially doing is you're still kind of connected to your emotional flow, and we're all connected. So you should naturally be able to feel people's emotions, everybody. Trust me, if you are of God, we should all be empaths. That's a simple word. That's a baseline of what we're capable of. Is this making sense? I hope it is. And I love that. And the light of the sun and the moon as well. Exactly. They messed that up too. They took that from you too. The light of the sun, the moon, all of it. They distorted it. They moved it. And you can watch me undo all of that and put it back together. Right up to the eclipse where I spoke through God and called everybody home. Okay. So I'm going to give you this. This is what God wanted me to talk about. So if you guys have questions, I'm here. I'm not trying to rush through anything or speak too fast because I understand it's a lot. And I'm here to help. Okay, everybody wonders why I don't give the path for free. There's a reason, but that doesn't mean I can't help every other way and give you all the keys. I'm still doing that. Okay, so understand that. The path, though, is no joke, no holds bar. You are ready to rise, and you have my help to do it. It's like a one-on-one. In a sense. So it's a little different. Okay. That's for the heart of hearts. But in general, I'm going to give you everything you need. That's what we're here. That's what I'm here for. Okay. And the DM too, he's here too. His love has been overflowing with me. So understand that. Okay. So that's an awakening. That's what starts to happen as we start to see the world around us as fake. Something's wrong and we don't feel good and it's not aligning with our internal truth. I love that. Okay. So that's what starts an awakening. Then we go within and we start to understand what's happening. Why do I feel off? And the more deeper we take that, the more of an awakening we get. Now, sudden awakenings are hard because we're skipping some layers and then you have to process. So as a collective, it's going to be a mental issue. It already is. We can see that, right? We don't know what's up. We don't know what's down. We're so filled with all these lies, and it's hard to understand a true prophet from a fake prophet because all you've ever known is the lies and the poison they fed you. Okay? So be gentle on yourself. Try not to understand what is outside of our capacity, because this is insane energies. Okay? That's an awakening starter. That's how we start to awaken. And then we realize the false veil was created from a lot of dark contracts of division and manipulation. And when you consider Mount Shasta, right, how many people went there thinking it was full of spiritual energy? There's a reason they do that. They took the root chakra from Fiji. That's where it is and always was and should have been. The earth's root was shifted to Mount Shasta. And then they put so much bloodshed there. Do you know how many souls were trapped there? If you watch part 1 of that one, it took me 30 days to process all of the deaths. There's hundreds of souls that were trapped there. I mean, hundreds. And in the tunnels there, I ripped a soul out of something and he fell down like a skin suit. It was like a puppet master, they called him. Probably the original fallen Samael, which he burned in part 2. Okay. And I didn't see this coming. It took me a while to understand. Back to Abraham Lincoln, I undid his contract in Mount Shasta as well. And he was murdered. So just like everything of the light, they used it for the benefit, division, and pain of their gain. Okay, is this making sense? I know it's a lot, but I prove it. And it's not normal. This is the pure truth of God. I am the armor of God. Okay, but you have to understand the truth. The more you can soak in the truth, the more of an awakening you will go through. The more you will understand what's unfolding right in front of your eyes, and the more you'll be able to clear your karma, which is what I'm about to tell you. It's all relevant. Okay? Because what you don't realize is there are certain things that we do that take us from that light, and that's how you remove yourself from God. All right? Anything outside of unconditional love will remove you from God. So if you're afraid to speak your truth, they use that against you. And at some point in history, you probably had that happen. We're tortured, murdered, who knows what. And it got us afraid to speak our truth. And therefore, you remove yourself more from God. That creates karma. Okay. So when you watch all of these things, they took a twin flame, twin soul. They took somebody who had power and they ripped them apart, and they would fight tooth and nail to get them to do something outside of God. Okay. So each one of us were born into this karma. You have a collective shadow and an individual. And those are the 2 layers that I remove out of you in the path. Okay. So I want you to understand that, because as we rise in the ascension, I'm getting chills. This is very important to know. You're going to have 2 parts of karma you need to let rise out of you. It's a shadow. It's El Diablo. It's whatever you want to call it. We are not meant to be half light and half dark. Nope. You're pure light. No division, love. Okay. Come back to love and the power of who we are. You're all fragmented pieces of the one. The universe is within us. That's why we go within to awaken and detach from the false reality. That's what's falling. So do it now. Okay. Please. I'm here with you. I will get you through. It's what I'm here for. Okay. That's what I'm here for. Just because I have a path that I charge does not mean that I'm not doing everything you need to do. Okay. That one is just totally different. Ask Lisa, ask Amy. I get you through it. Okay. But I'm still going to give you the keys. All right. So understand. I'm here. We're in this together. We're all connected. No division. All love. Okay. So throughout history, where they would multiply, divide, confuse, and draw fear, that's part of the collective shadow. Mount Shasta, where all the darkness was, that's where Archangel Samael burned. He was the original fallen. All of this is part of the collective shadow. That's part of also what is rising out of you. So not accepting that and detaching from the shackles that bind, hence the spell casting, helps you detach from the matrix. Okay. That's the collective shadow. So anybody who refuses to see Mount Shasta was darkness and purge that out of their system will anchor into it. That's what that means. Is this making sense so far? I don't want to go too fast because it's a lot to understand. And if I overwhelm you, what do we do? Okay. Now, your individual karma is things that you chose to do outside of God through fear, through manipulation. It doesn't matter what caused you to do it because nothing can happen to you, only through you. Okay. So the shadow would come in and get humankind to go against God by creating scenarios to do so. So whatever your weakness is. And that's why God talks about the temptations, right? Some of them are drugs, some of them are money. Okay. There's lots of temptation for money. How much fear is created around money? Let's be real. How much power and control and fear. And look what's happening to Hollywood. You're starting to see the truths unfold. And if we went too fast, it would really make you lose your mind. So you were getting it piece by piece. And they're starting with simple people like Diddy. But if you think he's the leader, he is not. Lisa says, the path is the most intense, incredible journey of self. You can't even imagine how powerful this experience will be. Best choice she ever made. Yeah. So I have the path. It's not meant for everybody, but I'm also here to help you know what you need to do. Okay. So nobody will be left behind unless you choose to not see the false veil. That's the collective shadow. So you have to rise out of the collective shadow and choose outside of that. So where you have the collective soul trying to convince you to shut the fuck up, excuse my language, but that's what they do, right? They make us feel horrible for talking. Like I had somebody come on here, watch a glimpse of a video and tell me I'm basically God's not going to have what I'm doing. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't watch all the videos. You don't know who I am, right? Or what I've done or what the truth is. But this is what I'm talking about. Okay. So we can choose to see or we can choose to fall with that reality. But once you come out of that reality, then you have your own karma to clear. Are we good so far? You have the collective shadow, which is where the collective or something in the collective would cause you to do something to go outside of God. We have to be able to see the truths. We have to know that, hey, they're telling me I have to do this. No, I don't. Prime example. How many people in your life have you said, if you do this, I won't love you? If you don't get the V, you're going to be chastised and secluded and judged. It's not God. God can't go outside of free will. God loves. God would never do that. And now they're telling you it messes with your DNA. It's proven. For a reason they did that. Okay. So the collective shadow is going to push like fear or something. They're going to tell you these lies that Jesus died for your sins. He did not. That goes against your free will. He was tortured, murdered, and stolen. There was no cross involved. The cross was broken. It was the Ankh. Okay. So there's layers here. You got to understand that. Because the more you choose to see the truth, the more you detach from the matrix shadow. That's the collective shadow. You have to heal both layers. You can't let society or the collective ego force you into doing something that is against God's will. That's those temptations. So why are drugs so bad? Because they force you to get against your free will. It becomes a situation where it like takes over. Okay. Foods is another thing. They lied and modified those and made us sick. And we're not meant to be sick. Animals, they modified and lied. And you know, they have souls too. We're all connected, including the trees and the animals. And we have been made to think that we have to continually eat that poison they're feeding us. That's why I said there's a karmic kickback in that. Okay. So the more you detach from the false truth and you stop letting them manipulate you to go against God, you're removing the collective shadow. Then that brings us into the individual shadow and karma. Right. And so where they manipulate you, you choose to go against, and then you create your own karma. And you have to undo that. Now, you are made up of God's presence, God's masculine and feminine energy. Okay, that's what should be in balance within all of us. That's the DM and the divine feminine and masculine, the sun and the moon. It's all relative. And it all reflects in the work that I've been doing. Okay. The earth is within you. It's within the life on this planet, the trees, the animals, the sky of blue, the earth, the heartbeat of one. We're all connected. Da-dunk, da-dunk, da-dunk. Which is why what I do affects the whole entire feminine presence. And what the masculine does affects the whole entire masculine presence. That's why you're all chosen ones. Everybody here affects somebody. We're all here to help our generational line through and to clear it. Yes, Roger, but they also carry dark entities. So Roger says drugs numb the light and keep you from shining. Yes, but they carry dark entities. Not kidding you. Even smoking a little doobie. Like I have to now clear all this darkness and it affects my DM. And that's what happened to Adam and Eve. Okay. They got her, which blinded him. And then he chose a false goddess. And this is what happened to Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Sekhmet and Horus. And then they make you all think it was something different for a reason. Okay. So drugs, yes, alcohol, marijuana, even, they all carry dark energies. It's not a joke. Okay. Have you heard lately too about the bloodshed rituals in Hollywood that are coming out more and more? And I'm thinking, now I started thinking, is this why Dracula and vampires were so, you know what I mean, passionately shown? Does that make sense? Like, how weird is that? When I cleared Mount Shasta, they kept bloodshedding into it. And I said, anywhere there's bloodshed, that's not God. So anywhere in history you hear, oh, we have to sacrifice. They're not sacrificing to God. No, 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 no. Okay, so I got a question. It is, why is that no have ever seen these dark energies, but just heard from anyone? I see them. I don't know. I feel like the more mediumship you house, you can see these things. We can tell their presence. One good way to know is if your vibration is low, that is when they can come around you. That's why they keep our vibration low through fear and division, because when we're all united and love is present and our vibrations are just, wah, these things can't exist. That's why in the return of Christ, you have one or the other. You can't have both. Okay. Is that making sense? So to consider people who are in pain oftentimes, they're highly medicated. They're kept outside of themselves. Yeah, Roger, he's been seeing and hearing those blood rituals in Hollywood. That's what they've been doing. They'll drink each other's blood and do these weird rituals about ayahuasca, Mount Shasta, and they talk about like all these dark entities that are always present. So I'm glad you actually brought that up. Atheists is something near and dear to my heart. And there's a reason atheists are there. And I absolutely can see what made atheists be atheists. Not all atheists of darkness, because the ones that are of darkness mock God, right? They pretend that, I know, isn't that gross, Roger? A lot of them pretend they're something special and they're not, okay? So those are the ones that are mocking God. Atheists got lost because it's pain. Why on earth? It doesn't make sense, right? They teach you all these things in the Bible and about God, but they're not real. They don't make sense. And it confuses us on our heart, right? And then there's a lot of pain and suffering. And where there is that, they just blame it on you. Oh, it's your fault, right? Right? So this is kind of making sense. So atheists fall away from God because they can tell in their heart something's not right with religion. Religion is not of God. It's not. I have met atheists. And when you throw religion at them, they get very upset. And I'm with them. Hallelujah. Because religion is going to fall. It's not of God. It's a division. God is all love. So anything where there's confusion in that creates people to pull away from that. And why wouldn't they? They can tell that something's not right. So are atheists, and if you think they have a happy life and a happy existence, do they really? Let's be real with that. Is anybody truly living on this planet fully happy? Not exactly. That's a loaded statement. Okay. If people don't care about all this, that's because they can't see God. Are atheists noticing? I would have to put money on some of them are. Right? So there's layers to that. Because if you have a heart and God is in there, you were called home. If you can hear it at all, they know they've been called home. They know that the world is ending in the way in which it was. Some people think that it's the end of the world. It's not, but it is the end of ways outside of God. And if you can't align with the truth, then you can't stay because it's the return. Okay. So it's not like punishment. God doesn't judge. He doesn't punish. He's all love. How can you be whole in a broken world? You can't. So why judge people? Are you perfect? No. No. The ones that they coin narcissists, these are the ones who have no remorse. They don't care, right? Everything is your fault. Those are the ones that are more detached from God, not atheists. Because in the truth, an atheist has a heart. 9 out of 10 of them, right? They have love in there. It's just confusing because we're in a false world, a false reality. But it can't exist anymore. Okay. So if you can't detach from that and see that something's wrong from the false veil, that's the collective shadow you're going to fall with. If you're on the side of bloodshed, you can't rise to God. But atheists know that to be true. They know something's not right. Some believe that aliens are God, right? Like there's layers of that. Okay, so that's a loaded conversation. And really, truly, it's many wounds. It's many layers of wounds because of this false doctrine, because of the false world. And then you have Hollywood, like prison terms, giving it to you backwards, right? Like, what the hell? Welcome to the collective shadow that you have to rise out of. Okay, that's the collective shadow. What has been done to the earth? Why is there divisions? What is religion? All of these things should be questioned at this time. If you're not, then you better awaken quicker because it's going to hit you hard. And if people are living a happy life and don't believe in this stuff, they wouldn't be hearing me and they probably won't rise. Okay. Some will go, some will stay, and some will never know life this way. That is the return. But God doesn't judge. It's not judgment day. It's scales of justice. How much love is in your heart? It doesn't matter if you don't believe in religion. I don't believe in religion. I never did. I just knew something wasn't right, and I would listen to my heart over anything. But that's where God resides. That's where we're all connected. And God doesn't cause pain and suffering. Okay. So atheists in my heart are still there. They're not separated necessarily. It depends on how much shadow they let in. Okay. That brings us to individual karma. So let's question this. What controls your choices? That is where your reality is in. So does fear control your choices? When fear came up and said, you better do this or you're going to be chastised, those that stood strong and said, F you, chastise me, didn't create that karma. They didn't separate themselves from the DNA activations. That's why it was pushed. They knew this was coming. They're not stupid. The Holy Grail was encased in this thing that's been undone. They know what's happening. Why do you think they're building bunkers? You guys, it's in the energy. That's why I told you, if you can read the Akasha records, you can see everything I did. They know. Okay. So what controls your choices? Is it other people's judgments? If other people's judgments make you afraid of judgment, you will fall with that. It will become your existence. If you're afraid to rise and say, dang, I messed up, I'm sorry, then that ego will become your downfall. Okay? This is how you rise out of this. Consider what controls your choices. Start to go within and detach from the false reality. Awakening, and then you can kind of look, hey, this is what's controlling my choices, and that's what I need to step out of. My own father was lost. Okay? He was wounded. And constantly throughout my life, he would tell me, if I had Black friends, I wouldn't have his love. And so I would go and get a Black friend and tell him, I'm sorry, then I don't want your love. I don't want conditional love at all. And I feel like that's the understanding my new DM and I are getting. It's like, there's no conditions here. None. Ah, the chills. I don't want conditional love. That's not God. And that is what your system is based off of. They're trying to control and control and control and fear and take your power away. That's the collective shadow. From the collective shadow, you create your individual karma. That's why you have to heal and understand both sides. Now, this is all lives measured. So you may not understand what karma you're clearing. Okay. But just listen, I have good information today. So what controls your choices? That is what your reality is in. Okay. Now, everything in existence is a mirror of your reality. So if there's a lot of fear around you, that's because that's your reality. That's a karmic play out you have created for yourself. God does this for a reason. The universe works that way for a reason. That way we can truly heal ourselves, okay? Because that is our power. Okay, your reality is created by you. So if there's a lot of people in judgment around you, it's because you chose judgment over God. And that's what you have to stand against. Think about Adam and Eve, right? Eve was duped. She got out of balance. Adam couldn't see. Things like that were in existence. My whole life, everybody around me was drug addicts. I wasn't. I stood against that. I was what you would call the white sheep of the family. My parents were heroin addicts, okay? Understand? Very painful existence. Not a good one. My dad had a lot of demons he was fighting, but he's still a pure heart, okay? He still rose up. When he died, I know because I watched him die and I wasn't awake yet. Okay. But there were times where he would try it against, like, you know what I mean? He would use love against me, but I would never let him. I don't care who you were. At any time in my life, if anybody said, hey, you better do this or you're going to lose everything, then kiss my ass and sink it. Like, I don't care. Okay. I don't create that karma within myself. I'm telling you how you created your karma through your lifetime. If you shun God, if it's because you're confused, just heal it back and understand the world was fake. It's not you. Good on you for noticing that. All right. There's no judgment here. That's a false reality. That's why going, I'm sorry, please forgive me, doesn't work. We need to go within. Everything is done within, not praying to a false God. God is in here. Okay. So if there's tons of people in judgment around you and you were afraid to speak truth of God because you don't want to be judged, that is because that is your karma. And that is something you need to stand outside of. And you need to have strength and say, I don't care if you chastise me. I will speak the truth. Because this false world tries to get you to go against your truth and God. And where you separate yourself from God creates your karma. So that's why I tell you, all of you did it at some point because you were born into the collective karma. But at what level did you do it? Okay, that's what matters. And are you willing to now just see it and choose God, choose love? God is love. Anything outside of unconditional love is not God. It's a very high vibration. And that's where we have to get to. And when you're in that state, you can see the difference between what is not God and what is God. But it takes a lot of healing to get there. It takes rising out of the collective shadow, seeing the false doctrine, the false lies, seeing the truth and allowing it to heal within your heart. And then forgiveness is warranted. Now, one of those people who has millions of followers, Aaron Doherty, I actually saw him speaking lately about some things that are concerning me because it just shows the healing he needs too. He once said forgiveness is not needed in a very high vibrational state. That's not true. It's not true. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive the world around us. Forgiveness is always needed. It's a part of healing. So those who have trespassed against us, we have to forgive them. Trust me, it's a part of it. Okay. So where you hear things like that, that's ego. I would tell you he has a high ego. You better be careful for. Where De La Roca, he's been humbled. You know what I'm saying? This is why he sees more. He talks about the things that I do shortly after I do them. How does that happen? If you're watching my work, De La Roca within 24 to 48 hours will tell you what's in the energy, and it goes with what I did. Why is that? Does he know me? No, I'm not a large channel for a reason. Because people couldn't process what I've done. Your shadow gets you sometimes. That's the false veil. Okay. But De La Roca can see more clearly because his heart is more open to understanding what is true and what is not. And ego is not. He cares less about the numbers and the prestige, whereas Aaron Doherty is very much so risen into his ego. Can he see some truths? Yes, but then it stops at a certain point. Okay, so be careful what you're understanding and what you're following. 444. Doesn't mean he's not a good person, but it definitely means he's got healing to do because even he is not seeing all of the light. The false shadow, the collective shadow. Is this making a little more sense? So start to go within, detaching from a false reality. That's where an awakening occurs. And that's what's happening to the whole world because the illusion is crumbling. You don't have a choice at this point, but to see that something was fake. Now, some people will still refuse to see. Some people are so anchored in, they won't want to see and they will fall. And that's their choice. It's free will based. God told me that when I started going, God, I am not a killer. Like, what am I doing? I'm creating these changes. It was overwhelming. And I got a little like, oh, it was overwhelming. I don't want to use any other word. And God straight up told me it's free will. Okay. So you can choose to rise or not. It's not punishment, you guys. God does not punish. But that's what the false doctrine wants you to believe. Now, those that hurt God, yeah, they have to deal with their karma. They hurt all of you because we're all connected. It hurts us all. And that is karma they have to repay back. You can't bypass that. So that's why I'm telling you, this is how you clear it. And even some of them, they're rising and they're realizing, oh shit, let's clear it. Have you noticed Kat Von D? Like, what the heck? Have you noticed that? She's claiming Jesus now. But she's still not, there's a lot of healing she has to do. Can I get an amen? But she's like darking out she's trying to detach from something she knows wasn't right. And she says being a mommy is what did it for her because it opened up her heart. Do you understand? Is this making sense now? All right. So, okay, how do we clear it without repenting, without going, forgive me? That is a false God. Okay. Look at the world around you, understand what they did to God to help create all shadow. That's your awakening, gets you out of the falseness. You can start to see real. Only then can you start to clear your karma. Only when you're truly humbled to the point where I need to see the truth can you start to clear your karma because you're detaching from the false collective. All right. Now remember, whatever you let control you is where you've created your karma. So if it's money, fear, ego, judgment, it is your job now to stand against that and to say, no matter what you throw at me, I don't care what you claim you're going to do to me, I'm not going to stand against love. You will not get me. So that's why some people, no matter what to the jab, said, no, thank you. You will not convince me to do that. And other people fell prey to that collective shadow, to that pressure, to that fear, to that division. And this is kind of showing you who is more connected to God and who is more from the fear or has more karma to clear. Now, some people here are not people at all. That's a whole nother video. Some people here are not people at all. Okay. No matter what reality you live in, it's always a reflection of you. Okay. So let's get deeper. We good so far? To beg for forgiveness is futile. It's of a low vibration because God is love. How can God not forgive? That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense. How can God judge if God is unconditional love? He doesn't want you to judge anybody either because that takes you away from God. So when you have people coming here without watching all the videos, we are taught to do that. Religion teaches you that. It's not of God. It's a division. It was a lie. The cross was not a true cross, by the way. Why do you think they had Jesus hung on it? Watch my resurrection on Christmas Day, and you'll know why. One must do enough healing. Okay, you got to heal it. If begging for forgiveness is futile, where do we start the forgiveness? Within us. Like, dang, like we were all in a broken world. Why can't we come to that conclusion? Like, we have titles, atheists and transgender and so many different sexual orientations that are just confusing as all get out. I am me. We're supposed to be masculine and feminine and in balance. And where the world got out of that created all kinds of imbalance. How can you be whole in a broken world? Stop judging people. Are you perfect? Hail to the hell no. Even I'm not perfect. Okay? Nobody is. That's why they say he who casts the stone, right? Nobody's perfect. We shouldn't judge anybody. But understand that not everybody here has a soul. Okay? So protections are okay. But never judgment. Love, not judgment. Does it mean I have to go hang out with those dudes? No. But I can still send love their way and put up protection. Okay. Atheist, am I going to go, they rebuked God? No, I give them more love than anything because they understand something was wrong. You can't accept a false God when you know something's wrong with that. So that's why they would detach. Do you understand? So don't ever beg for forgiveness. Heal it. Understand the false world from the true one. Start to go with it, accepting justifications of a false reality. So just because they say you better do this jab or you're not going to get to do this, that, and the other, first of all, it's an illusion that only you can create if you accept that reality. As a mass, if we accept that reality, it becomes our existence. As a mass, if we say screw you, it won't become our existence. You understand? That's why they do those things. That's why the media was the way it was. Because if I can get more people to believe one thing, it will create it in the reality. That's how powerful we are. That's why they want you divided. Because if we all stood together in love, all of this shit would be gone. So start to forgive within, start to go within and realize what you chose outside of love. What did you let people dictate for you? Where it takes away your free will is outside of God. The return of Christ is free will based. If you choose not to heal, if you choose not to see the truth, if you choose not to rise through love and let everything else go, that's on you. It's free will based. God does not judge, my friends. It's who chose love. What path are you choosing? The false doctrine, the false reality, or love and understanding of what went wrong and that we are all connected. I don't care what color, race, creed, belief you have, we're all connected. It takes a mixture to. So if we were all the same, what a boring freaking world it would be. I don't know about you, but I look forward to commingling with aliens. Why not? The good ones. Where there's beauty and grace, I accept the difference. Why not? Please. What a boring world if everybody looked like me. Well, especially before the ascension work when I looked really hot, right? What a boring world it would be if we all had the same color. If we all had the same joys. It would be not real. Okay? Number 1, we are all connected. Inside the universe, our heart. When you start to realize that, you'll start to see how much you choose outside of love. This is how you clear your karma. Okay? The path, I do it for you. And then you just have to choose the whole way through. But this is what y'all got to really, truly see. Number 3, understand you take part in creation that I wrote this, sorry, that is surrounding you, the scenario. So understand that you took part in the creation of everything that happens to you. And I know that's hard sometimes to understand because of the victim mentality, right? Do we deserve to be hurt? No. Do people deserve to be abused and raped and tortured? And what about our kids, right? So there's layers to this. I need you to understand it is our job to protect our children, and we have failed greatly in a broken society. Not all of us. Some of us truly do put up that protection and are there and bend over backwards, right? But as a general whole, we have lost sight of what that meant. a long, long time ago. Mount Shasta actually had tons of children's souls in it. You know, all those missing people they can't explain? Okay. So everything in your reality is a reflection of you. Own your truth. So if you're surrounded by people who are controlling religious people, it's because that is where you anchored in at some point. That is where you went against God. If you are surrounded by people who are judgy, if you are surrounded by people who are manipulative and use fear constantly, how many karmic relationships do you know where they're like, if you don't do this, I won't love you? At some point in time, you did that. Harsh, maybe, but real. This is a karmic play out, my friends. We all have all of our karma playing out right in front of our eyes. So your reality is reflecting very loudly for a reason. That way you can choose to see the truth so that you can heal them within you and rise to more love. And if that people can't understand that, you guys, these are the keys through. This should help you awaken too. Number 4, understand that when the heart is clear, people can see clearly. Most would choose not to hurt others or themselves. Don't judge. So when the heart is clear and in balance and every truth is there, nobody would really want to hurt anybody. Don't judge people. Prime example is good example was my dad again. It was my dad. And I had him my whole life going, if you did this, I won't love you. I will. And he did. He shunned me. And in the end, we taking care of all that. But you don't realize why he was that way. He had a lot of wounds. Okay. So we need to understand, like on the twin flame journey too, and why my DM wouldn't choose God and I was. Like, how is that possible? Because he had wounds. He didn't heal enough. We can't see until we can see. It's very, very layered. Anywhere there's attachments to the false collective, shadow, we can't see. Nobody in truth would want to hurt anybody if they have love in them at all, right? Now, some people here aren't of God. We have to understand that. The term narcissist, where they're truly disconnected from the soul, you can tell that. But a majority of us don't want to hurt anybody. So that's why forgiveness is needed. Because what we look for is validations and justifications and healing. How can I heal if they can't come to me and say they messed up? I can still heal it within me. But are they clearing their karma? No. Is that making sense? Number 5, deep self-reflection is required and a clear perspective of both sides in relation to love, unconditional love, and where it's off from that. This is how you clear your karma. Okay. Everything that happens in your reality is a reflection of your karma. It's a reflection of your truth and where you went outside of love. Some people have more than others. So where there's judgments reflecting back at you, that's because you agreed to those judgments and you might be doing it again. You must stand against it now to clear it. It's not just recognizing it. You have to undo it. I'm going to get to that. I hope this is making sense, you guys. These are the keys to the ascension. Deep self-reflection is required with every reflection of you. So where you get angry, where people make you feel uncomfortable, where judgments are created, right? Where we don't, where the world causes us something outside of homeostasis, right? It's all a reflection for you to tune within and heal it within you. That's why God says that. Use everything as an opportunity to heal you. So if I see something in somebody I don't like when people come here and I spark their shadow and they're like, you know what I mean? They don't take the time to deep dive. They don't take the time to do their homework because it's not normal to have proof. There's so many false out there. It's not normal that I say, look at what I did, dude. Here's the proof. Oh my God. And actually have shit happen after we do it. It's like, what? We're not used to that. Okay, so what our job is to help clear our karma and to rise to the ascension, okay, is to consider everything as a mirror for you. That way you can look within and go, what am I doing to recognize this? Because we can only recognize something that is within us to recognize. So if you're afraid that your comfort zone will be demolished if you speak your truth about this, that's because that's where you went against God in the first place. You cared more about money or ego or what you looked like for others. And now it's your job to recognize it, the veil. I can see it now. I'm using the world as my reflection. I can see it because I can only see in me what exists. Okay, making sense? And now I'm going to deep dive and heal it. I'm going to remove those masks. Why am I affected? Why am I afraid of your false reality? Because I create my reality. I don't care if you tell me if I don't take this, I can't do this. I never lost employment because of it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's only when we accept that reality. Does that mean sometimes we don't have challenges? We do. We all do. Okay. That's why we're supposed to be here to help each other up. Because the world was harsh. Love did not exist here through our false matrix. Okay. Is this making sense? I hope it does. These are the keys. I'm giving it all to you. Right? My path. People have thrown judgment because there's a path you have to pay for. This is it. Okay. This is how you're going to get through it all and rise to God. So consider everything as a reflection for you. It's there to show you where you're outside of unconditional love for self first, because it's a reflection of you. Okay. So it starts within you. So if you're afraid to get out of your comfort zone because people might chastise you because you believe in this and they don't, that is where I would be speaking loudly your truth and accepting whatever cards may fall, because that is your karma. But generally speaking, God is always right there to go, ha, you saw clearly, you got the perspective, and you rise out of it. Boom, lesson learned, and you move on, and abundance is there. Okay, it's all an illusion that you accept. There's money that's good, and there's money that's not. I know because I put it through the portal. So where there's fear, manipulation, unjust, pay no mind to that. Don't give it shadow back. You understand? All right. So in order to clear your karma, deep self-reflection and clear perspectives of both sides. So I need to be able to see the other person's perspective, because on every karmic contract, there's another person on the end of it. So when you choose not to rise, you're not only hurting you. Where you choose not to clear karma, it's not just you it affects. There is always another energy on the other side of every contract you have in existence. Okay, so it's going within to see where both sides are at in that scenario. Now that's hard to do. There's a lot of healers that I know that actually can't do that. They'll judge people. They'll go, ooh, I got to heal that in them. Like, what the hell did they do? And they don't realize that that's a reflection of you. You've done that at some point in your life too. Because you can't see what's not a reflection of you. That's our reality. So being able to look within and going, what created this scenario? Where am I outside of love? And getting a perspective on what you do and how it affects those that are connected to you. That's a key. Okay. And then where are we outside of love here? Is there judgment involved? Is there ego? Is there fear? Is there power? Is there control? Is there manipulation? Am I emotionally manipulating them, or are they emotionally manipulating me? Because it's not God. Either A, it's a karmic contract, or B, we just both need to turn it to love. Either way, you both need to turn it to love. If you do, they can too. If you don't, it blinds them as well. This is how you clear your karma. Can I get an amen? True amen. Okay. Bible don't tell you all this stuff because it's not all real. Okay. Seeing both sides is a key in providing pure, honest love, understanding, truth, and healing. Right? So it's like, you know what? I have to say this. This is coming in my energy. Back 10 years ago, I said this and it really hurt me. And I just want to say I'm sorry. Thank you, Roger. I'm sorry. Forgiveness is a huge key. You know, nobody's perfect. Let's accept that. If we've done something that's outside of love, okay, great. It's recognizing it and having the balls or the gusto to say, oopsies, let's clear this. I just love you. So if you have a hard time with people who have titles, right? Atheists or people who claim to be whatever. I don't like titles. We're all humans in a crazy messed up world, at least those that are, right? And so some of us have issues. We've been abused. We have genetic malformities. We have confusion. We have imbalance. And so some people They might choose things that we might not choose. It's being able to look at that and say, you know what? I can accept that we have two different realities and I love you. But the Bible doesn't teach you that. Religion doesn't teach you that. And then you wonder why we have atheists. Because it's confusing. They know in their heart of hearts there should be love and there's something wrong. But if they start to really dive in, they're not always happy either. Okay. So once you can do that, then not allowing it back in next time. So it's not just as simple as clearing it. Okay, cool. I recognized it. I've done my dues. I cleared it. I forgave myself. And I also allowed forgiveness for those that are involved and love on both ways. Now what? You're not done. Because now the lesson will play out in physical form, because God wants to know, okay, we've cleared it. We're recognizing it. But did you fully learn your lesson? Once you fully learn that lesson, and it will play out again, and you won't see it coming. God calls it lessons in disguise. This is what I take you through on that path, and then I see them coming, and I warn you. But other than that, you've got to do it on your own, but this is what you got to do. It's my path either way, because it's the return of Christ, okay? So you'll take it and you'll go, okay, I've see it now. I recognize it now. I've accepted it. I've brought in forgiveness. This is a key. That's why when that one guy said forgiveness is never needed, run from that. That's his own shadow, his own ego. Forgiveness is a key in there. You have to forgive yourself and those others because we couldn't see clearly. Okay, period. Nobody truly wants to hurt anybody, but we've all unintentionally done it at some point on accident, probably, including ourselves. Okay, so forgiveness is key. Once you've done all that, it's going to play out around you in the way it created the first time. And that's how God is going to know, did you learn your lesson? That's why it takes strength. And you're not going to know how it's coming. It's lessons in disguise. So it's not just as simple as I'm going to do some shadow work and heal my shadow. Guess what? For the ascension, now it's going to play out. You have to draw it out to the surface to be able to see the difference clearly. You learned the lesson, but did you? God wants to know. So now the same scenario that created it has to be undone in physical form. That's how you fully learn your lesson. That's how you rise. But it can't be outside of free will. So it was going to be in disguise. Because if you truly learn the lesson, if you truly see where you were outside of God, outside of love, and then the lesson comes back to play out, I see this happening to those that rose with me in this time. Okay, did you really truly learn your lesson? Now I'm going to give you a judgment scenario. Can you stand in strength and step outside of that and choose God no matter what the illusion is in front of you? No matter what they tell you, no matter what fear and division is placed on you, did you learn your lesson and can you choose love? That's why I tell you there's layers. You guys, this info is priceless. I hope you understand that. This is the gift of God. This is the gift of the path to righteousness, right coming out of my mouth for all of you. The only difference is if you purchase the path, I help you all the way through it. Either way, you're all in the rapture because that was what I undid through all the darkness and bringing back the return of Christ. That's what it is. God does not judge. This is where they lie to you. They murdered him, divided, bloodshed, contracts of darkness, all the way back to the beginning of time. And Abraham Lincoln's was undone in Mount Shasta, and they killed him for a reason. You understanding now? There's a false world you have to be able to climb out of to see clearly. Then you have to understand that everything is a reflection of you. That way you heal it because you can only see in you what is in you to see. Okay? Everything around you is your reality that you created. Now, we're not meant to suffer. You need to detach that. That's a false reality. That is where this world was created. And I feel so many chills when I say that. Love was not here before, but it's back now. And it's our job to detach from what's not that, to own our reality. You must own your reality. Everything. You are not a victim, my friends. It is your job now to rise above it and to undo what was once done by you in your creation that took you away from that love. Because we didn't know, we couldn't see. Generally speaking, none of us meant to make those choices. And if our heart was pure and things weren't undone the way they were on this earth and all of this shit wasn't commandeered, we wouldn't have made those choices. So there's no punishment. Do you understand? That's false and it's painful. Judgment is false and painful because the truth is beyond you. So I know that when I say these things, people are confused. But I have the proof, and that's not normal either. We're not used to that. I can point out so many falsehoods. They don't have the proof, but they use little inklings of truth and get you. That's what you're used to. So I hope this is making sense. This is priceless information. So once you remove it, which is what I do on the path too, but either way, the energy is trying to do it for you. If you let it, you have to see. You have to understand the world around you is your reflection, because you can only see in you what's in you to see. And at some point, we have created in this, or we accepted it to be our reality because we didn't know any better, or fear, or whatever. It doesn't matter why. In the truth, we're all love. At the heart of hearts, we're all love. We're all one. So when you judge anything in somebody else, that's not love. That's not God. And that quickly removes you from love. So if you're surrounded by judgments, that's something you have to clear. You have to stand strong and not allow it to take you from God. We are all love, my friends. It takes every one of us to create the whole. All colors, everything that we have been taught is a division needs to come together in love. Religion is not real. It's a divide. It's not God. Please don't repent. Look at everything as a reflection and find where you're outside of love. Once you can see it, you get the perspective of how you affected others and what happened against love and how it hurts. Great. Now the lesson is going to come back around to see if you've understood it. And it will come in a disguise, and you better choose against it. You better choose love, and it takes strength because it's where it got you the first time. So if they got you to go against God through fear, manipulation, control, money, if you care more about the way your home looks and what people think of you, that's going to become your reality. You will anchor in and you won't feel love. Because where we detach from God as it's coming in, it's going to hurt. It's not a good feeling. I know that firsthand from my twin flame, because his heart didn't get healed enough. And so he couldn't see clearly again in this lifetime, kind of what happened in the back of the beginning of time. He couldn't see, and God was void in his heart, and it hurt. It was not a good feeling. So when they talk about entities and darkness, consider it a void of light, a void of love. It's like nothingness. It's a void. It's not a good feeling. And you don't want that. I can guarantee you that. If you think you do, you think it's not that, it's because you just can't see it yet. But I can promise you, it's not a good feeling. And then when he died and I got a walk in, I felt that shift and I felt all that love again. And I was like, oh, it is painful to detach from God's love. Very. And as that anchors more, that's why some people are going to really wreak havoc. Because it's exercising their demons. Oh, yeah. But that's what also gets me, okay, about Catholicism and all that. And I've watched like their exorcisms compared to me healing entities. Vastly different. Vastly different. Okay. Yeah, it's so weird. No, as you heal and raise your vibration, those cannot attach to you. Okay. You don't need to do all this other crazy stuff religion depicts. That's ridiculous. Just heal and don't let it reattach. Okay. Okay. If you keep your high vibration high, you can see clearly. You can see more clearly. But that's where they kept us, and the fear and the division is a low vibration. That's why repentance, the way the Bible, the false doctrine teaches, is a low vibration. Because if they can keep you in a low vibration, you can't see enough to undo your karma, to choose love, and to rise. You guys, this is priceless information. And what a blessing, because I got to heal Layla today. So I'm so happy. Okay, there's a few things I've written down that kept coming through that I need to read. This was all channeled. This is what God wanted me to talk about. And this is what I did in the return of Christ, okay? So in the path, I totally walk you through, and I help you see it all, and it's all there. But this is how you do it on your own, okay? It's all right here. If you accept judgments or fear, then you have become those judgments. One can succumb to the temptations outside of God. You can't do it. And that's the lessons that will come back around. So did you learn your lesson? And it's not always easy, especially with like addictions. I know. Okay. I had to let all of that go too. But that's what kept me and my DM blind. It's hard. It tried it again, you guys. Just a couple days ago, it came in hardcore because when I feel my DM's love, that shadow tries really hard to convince us otherwise, very hard. And I was literally like, it took all the strength that I had and I slipped up a little. And then immediately I was calling my strength back, removing it all, clearing it all, and trying to let him know I love him. I love you and I'm sorry, and not hurt him, and just really nurture that connection. And I know he felt that. Okay. So it's not, it happens to me all the time. Did you learn the lesson? And can you repeat it? Because it's until it's gone, it's still here trying to get back in. That's the battle for your soul. Okay. So just because, I may say, hey, the cross is going to burn anywhere Jesus is on a cross, you don't have to believe me, sunshine. I can prove it. And just understand that there's things that it's all been false. Okay. So I'm not the enemy. I'm bringing the truth. And I'm trying to tell you guys how to do the same. But I have the proof. I just did a healing on somebody. You all do. Like, I do these things all the time, and I don't need to know you to do it. I don't want to know. I'm not like those people. Like, please email me a whole bunch of your questions so I can research them before I answer them. No, come to a live. Don't message me in Messenger. Come to a live. Come to a healing. Because spirit truth speaks for itself. Can I get an amen? Foods, drugs, lies, judgments, fear, manipulation, ego, control, need to entitlement. That's your compass outside of you. These are what keeps your compass outside of you. The false foods, because they were genetically modified. Okay. Drugs. They carry dark entities as well. Lies. We have to own our truth. We have to accept our truth. Even if you guys, when I first had my awakening, doing this work was totally off the chain. Like, what does it mean to sit on Saturn and raise Atlantis? Nobody understood what I was doing. What does it mean to clear Mount Shasta? Do you know how many people still fight that? They don't understand it. So God literally told me when I first woke up is I had to accept who I was and allow myself to be myself. Then I was going to change the world and watch it change. And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, cool, I'm going to do healings on people and cure cancer because I can see what causes it. If you did watch the beginning of this video, I was doing a healing. When I go inside your body, I see all of the makeup of you. And I get down to the nitty gritty. It has to be done in layers, true. But I heal it all to the creation of your existence. It's not normal. Okay. So I thought that's what he meant. It wasn't. Then I started doing things like activating pyramids. What does that mean? I used my light to do it, and my heart literally became enlarged. I took us into 7D. What does that mean? I activated dormant chakra systems that were on this earth, and I totally changed the vibration so that it can never happen like that again. Clearing Mount Shasta, that triangle with the eye actually came in part 2, and I moved it back to the God's portal, which was Fiji. What is that? That's not normal. And I did all the work. Like, it's there. And the crazy thing is God had me record it, but I didn't know that was coming either because I was doing healing exchanges and God was like, hey, if something happened in one of them, and I was like, I need to record these. And not only was it for me, but it was also for the client. So I record the healing sessions and I give it to them and I never watch them again. But now they have the recording because it's layered. They can look back and go through it. Yes. Yes, I love that, Roger. The real inside, not the real outside. That's right. But if you're medicated and you're crowded in pain, it's hard to see the truth, right? That's why you've never judged people. That's why when people tell you get the popcorn so you can watch this unfold, that's not love. Never mock anything. God sheds a tear for the lost as well. Do you understand? Is this making sense? You must be in your heart to see love. That's why when you're called home, you were called home from the heart space. That's where God is. So we need to heal deep into our heart, all the wounds. And that lady that talked about that is now our karma, and any pain that's in our energy is now due. That's what that means. God does not judge you. That's religion. That's false. And that's why you have atheists. They're like, this isn't right. They knew something wasn't right. Amen. Because it wasn't. So they are not anchored into religion. So as that clears, they might feel better and they might come back to God. And I get a lot of chills when I say that, because God is not in the false doctrine. He's definitely not now. Okay. What they have done to you was use God's truth to hurt you through lies. So I tell you, the Ankh is the only cross. Anything where you've got Jesus on it, get rid of it. You don't have to believe me, because I know that's a lot. That people will like really, really have a hard time with that one. But when you watch the resurrection on Christmas Day that I did live, you'll know he didn't die on a cross. And the Holy Grail was not a cup. No, no, it was very painful what happened. So be very careful. And that's hard. So we have to understand is the world is not what we thought it was. And maybe with proof, like who has proof? But we're not used to that either. So I'll literally tell people, look, this is me activating a pyramid. In that came so many stuff I didn't see. And then it played out in your reality. I talked about earthquakes, and then an earthquake would happen. I talked about lightning strikes in one of them, and it happened in real time as we were doing it. Like shit that I can't make up if I tried. And it's all proven. God did that for a reason. God said I had to accept myself. That means I had to stand against everything and everyone telling me I was cray cray. What? Oh man. And I was chastised. My own family was confused. And I was alone. And then the twin flame thing hit, and it hurt so bad. And so many people just judged me. And they didn't realize I was fighting for my life. I almost died 3 times. And while that was happening, some chose to just judge me instead of help. And I'm thankful I had the few stay that stayed. Because if it weren't for them taking my academy and me teaching them how to heal these things, you want to know what darkness looks like to heal? Amy can tell you if she's still here. It's not pretty. If you want to know what it's really like to have like an exorcism type thing, because I was being attacked by 3 fallen angels, and they blew out my solar plexus. They turned my Merkaba upside down. This was painful. And we would energetically pull out all these things. And one of them, it was like all this black tar that I had to remove. Even my teeth hurt. It took everything out of my body, caused blood clots within my system, which one broke free and actually went up here. My heart became enlarged, activating the pyramids. And I was doing all of this, and it was so painful. And instead of people going, oh my God, look at how amazing, and seeing the truth unfold, they judged me. And that's why God said I had to be myself, accept every bit of who I was, and allow myself to do it. That's how I was going to change the world. And now I'm in the part of watching it change. Now I get it. It took me the whole time to get it. God is very complex. Okay? Your job is to not know all the answers because it's outside of our mental capacity. Your job is to feel it in here. That's where the truths will be. But that darkness attack was intense. Amy, I don't know if she's still here. This was a long live. It was all this tar, and we would have to do it in layers. It was very, very, I would wake up screaming and wailing. He was really blinded and they were trying to rip my soul out. It was horrible. It was very painful. And this was all during right before Jesus and Mary Magdalene resurrection. I didn't know that was coming. I was literally just trying to live. I was trying to survive what was happening with my twin soul, because we were connected. Our souls went whoop, and then he took off. Was not a good scenario. And I almost didn't make it. They actually planned for us to not make it. When I made it, God said, I knew you were strong enough, but the timeline was planned for the ascension not to fully come into fruition. But I made it. I don't know how. It was the love. That's why love won. It was the love for my DM. It was the love for myself. It was the love for God. It was the love for my kids. And I'm all those kids had. And the chills. Anytime God said jump, I said how high, and it would be very gentle in here, like a nudge from here, right? I just knew it. I knew it in my gut. And nothing would deter me. I didn't care what it said. I didn't care about the threats to be homeless. I didn't care about people judging me. Nothing stopped me from that. That's why we survived. Okay. But those attacks were quite painful. So when entities truly attack you, it basically sucks the life out of you. Your vibration goes down. You become very depressed, suicidal. These are all markers. Okay. Now it's all vibration hubbed. Okay. So you don't have to focus on, oh my God, they're entities. There's energy all over. We were in a dark planet no longer. Okay. So when you raise your vibration, those things can't attach. Okay. So the attacks on me were tenfold because if it stopped me, the ascension wouldn't have fully come into play. And that's what's happened before. But this time, and they showed me that too. They showed me that the last time we tried, we didn't make it. So I knew death was an option for me. I knew that. And the twin flame thing I didn't see coming was so painful. But Amy, she was in my alchemy academy. She was going through the pyramid activations, and I was waking her up to the healer she was. And I was teaching her how to just, be a healer through God. There's not like a book. It's you got to open up to the channel and allow God and the angels to guide you. Okay. That's how I teach. That's my academy. It's 7D based, light healer based. Okay. 7D is just a number. That's a classification I don't want to solidify because it just depends on your energy for where you go and how you take it. Okay. And so I was teaching her, and then one day I was like, oh my God, help me. I was so painful. And we had to do it. And as she was removing the tar, you guys, they were from my chakra. She saw this like tar. I wish she was still here, but she'll tell you about this. You can see this. Amy H. She isn't a graduate, and she went into the new path with me, the new earth. But all of a sudden, I started puking out what looked like, the insulation in a house. That's what it looked like. I started energetically throwing up insulation and then cockroaches. You guys, that was so disgusting. Like it felt real. It was more real than I could imagine. And I was just like, bleh! And we both were like seeing it and all this dark, and it was horrible. It was like a nightmare. Okay. Amy's here. Yeah. So I'm talking about when you healed the darkness and what that looks like, what darkness truly looks like and how it feels. But little did we know it was 3 fallen angels that were actually attacking me at one time. They even broke my arm, you guys. And my DM, if you know a twin flame journey, what happened to Adam and Eve, if I did drugs or anything, he's blinded. Okay. And that's why the apple scenario, but then that's why the DM chose a false goddess, because he couldn't see. Yeah. Okay. Conquer and divide. God is masculine and feminine. Adam and Eve, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Sekhmet, and Horus. It's like they took that away. Okay. And so I couldn't take pain pills. And this bone right here, what is this, my radius or my ulna? I don't know which one it is right now. I split in 2. My wrist shattered. My whole arm got shoved into my hand like this, to where these fingers were locked into place, because all of the bones were separated, got shoved up so hard, this bone split in 2 and popped out here. And it was a freak accident. We don't even know how it happened to this day. And that was at the same time she was doing all these healings on my energy. Now, if I would have accepted surgery, we wouldn't have made it. I couldn't even accept pain meds, and I knew it. And everybody thought I was crazy. I'm like, you don't understand, but I didn't care. So I had to accept no matter what people threw at me, because I knew what was happening. And now the truth is there, and it's up to you to see it. Okay. But so they squeezed my bones back together and casted it. And that's how I dealt with that. I don't wish that pain on anybody, not even my worst enemy. And then the whole time she's having to remove all this darkness from me. And then I was able to bring down the anointing of Christ by myself. I didn't see that coming. And then eventually I got to walk in twin flame because he was not strong enough to get out. And we had to stop it. And once that happened, the dome was complete of light. And I got to walk in DM. And the attacks on me stopped. That were so bad. Now it's just an attack to keep us separated. But then I kept doing it the whole return of Christ. And that's why there's masculine pyramids and feminine ones that we activated. And that's why there's 2 parts to everything. because the first time I was waking up my DM, the bride of Christ. And then once he was awake and the one with the pure heart stepped in, we were able to complete the masculine side of things. So there's two. Everybody's looking for a man named Jesus. And instead, it's a masculine and feminine, me and my DM. Now, Jacinthe says it was excruciating to watch all of this happen to her. Yeah, it was not fun. And people just judged me instead. The darkness is very real. So it sucks the life out of you. All the nutrients out of your body. You want to know if you've got an entity attached, you can't see clearly, you're depressed. It's low vibrational stuff. And it's almost like when you try to get out, something pulls you back down. And I did. I rose through it all. I never stopped. That's why they say love won, because it was the love that kept me going. It was the love I felt for my connection from my twin soul, which, by the way, now that I have a new walk-in, that is love that, don't touch it. Like, I've never had that kind of love. And I love him. I haven't met him physically yet. I met my other one, but we are connected on the inside. And so I know his heart and I feel his love. Like I've never felt love before, you guys. It's a connection like you only get fragments of. So that love kept me going, but I didn't even have this love yet. This is like even more. And I'm like, you're not taking that from me. No way. Love won. Okay. That's what happened. They separated the twin souls. Division, and then they took all the power lifetime after lifetime and created all these dark contracts. Abraham Lincoln, they took anything good and changed it to dark, and they would make you think it was good, and it wasn't. They would make you think, oh, Jesus died on a cross for your sins and he was resurrected on Easter. No, he wasn't. The resurrection occurred Christmas Day, live in 22. And I undid the Holy Grail, which was not holy at all, and it was not a cup. Okay. That's why the attacks were relentless on me. And they didn't know I was strong enough to survive. And God had said that. That's why he called me mahogany. Because I shouldn't have made it. And on top of that, everybody judged me the whole way through. And didn't see what was happening. And the pain that it took me to make it. The pain was, I can't even put a word to it. But God, the love I have for him, the love for my DM, and the love for my kids is what kept going. I remember the deep blue sea. God said, it's the deep blue sea. And I didn't know that was part of the biblical stuff. It's all a part of the prophecy. I didn't know because it was my life unfolding in real time, lessons in disguise, even for me. But then God said, it's the deep blue sea. So I was like, DM, hear me. We got to go against the deep blue sea. And then when you look that up, that talks about El Diablo. So when they talk about slaying the dragons and all that, that's what I've been doing. And somehow I survived. My body took a hit. You guys, I look like shit half the time and I can't help it. My health is coming back, but I had blood clots that formed that broke to my head. I couldn't speak right for like a month. Through all of this, my heart became enlarged. I had to get healings upon healings. I remember when my arm broke, Jesus and the angels would come in and help me heal it. Because I would heal it, they would heal it, and they would tell me, you'll use it again. And I'm not supposed to be able to do this. I should not be able to do what I can do with it. Because all they did was squeeze my bones back together. Look, it's not normal. You can see a scar here too, where it popped out. And I'm asking the doctor, like, how did that happen? And they're like, we don't know. How did my heart heal from becoming enlarged? They're like, we don't know. It must have been a mistake. Like, so all the tests that said it was enlarged is now a mistake because we healed it. It can't be possible. Do you see? And the attacks, my teeth would hurt. Like everything was depleted. Everything, my whole health. And so God said, I got to heal now. That's why I'm very protected now. And they can vouch for that too. So even sometimes they'll come around and I have to protect from them because I'm still healing. My solar plexus was blown out once by myself before the twin flame thing come. And I thought it was because I didn't want to hurt people in the return of Christ. I don't want to bring something that's going to cause people to have to leave. But it wasn't that. It was the twin flame thing was coming. So I blew out my own solar plexus by placing this Atlantean crystal in it instead of underneath a pyramid. Not normal. So the pyramids are what Tesla said. There are power centers, and all the crystals were replaced, and the crystalline grid was replaced with the masculine and feminine and filled with Christ's light. So the earth was changed. She is not dying. She is correcting. And it's everything is divinely guided that you're going to see unfold, except for the darkness stuff. So like the mass shootings, that's not God. Come on. But earthquakes and stuff, it's because what was done to the earth has to now shift. She will correct herself. The one thing that I did that will completely change the face of this planet is Mount Shasta in California. Once I cleared Mount Shasta in part 2, I cracked it all the way down the fault line, separated it from the earth. It was cut off from light. California is dead to the earth of the map, to the map of the earth, the true map of her heartbeat, the blueprint. Is that making sense? Because she's alive. So I cut it off from life support, and it falls into the water, and the water comes up through San Francisco. That is the one major thing. The rest of them will shift and move. Another thing was in, Kenya, Nicaragua, no, Kenya, Zimbabwe. You'd have the videos on here. I want to say Nicaragua. That's not right. Nigeria, Kenya, and Zimbabwe. I created a pyramid between those 3, and I said anything outside of that will fall. So I don't know what that means. We have to wait and see it unfold. But those are the major shifts the earth is about to you know what I mean? Other than that, the fault lines will shift. Things will shift because it has to expand. The earth is expanding because God is expansive. It's not this very small, tight, fear-based, low vibrational state. It's very high vibration of love, expansive energy. You have to be able to activate your DNA to match to her. That's why the push of the jab, it changes your DNA. It stunts it. And even the foods we were eating were doing that. That's the GMOs. They knew what they were doing. Because those people can't attach, and the earth will read your blueprint because she provides everything we need, from electricity to water to food. Lord, help us all. Stop eating animals right now. That's hard. It is, because it's everything. It's their whole world is made up on that. It's really hard. And I'll eat it and be like, this is so good, right? Like, oh my God. But then I know what it means and what I did and what the karma is about to play out. So we just don't want to involve ourselves in that. That's all. Okay. Because God is love. He is not bloodshed. Please understand that, where like voodoo does bloodshed, that's not God, my friends. It's not. It's love. It's repair. It's healing. It's help. It's giving. It's creation. It's not bloodshed. And Mount Shasta was filled. That's what they would have to continually do, is sacrifice. So you hear all those stories where we have to sacrifice to the gods. That was not the light. That was the fallen. Everything makes sense. Everything's very real. Thank you for giving me space to do the healing that I needed to give today. I did not know they were coming, and I'm so glad they came, because I kept feeling her in my energy for a while now. So thanks for giving space for that as well. So that's the truth, you guys. These are the keys. That's how you clear your karma. That's how you made your karma. Okay? And in the path, that's what I do for you. I get you there. You still have to make the choices through free will. I can't bypass that, but it's everything. So in this, at least you'll know what to do as it's coming, hopefully, if you can hear me. And please love everybody. So much love. Roger, happy birthday. Happy birthday, my friend. Do you want a card on the way out for your birthday, Roger? I could do a card if you want one for a birthday gift for you. Aw, thank you. I know all these birthdays. Amy's mom. My middle is 16 tomorrow, and he's just detaching more from his biological father, and that's okay. All right, here's a card for you. Anchor into the light. Each way you go, Roger, anchor into the light. There will be difficulties in the plight because you may have to go against the tides of what you're surrounded with. You need to call in your strength and your power, my friend. Roger, you need to call in your strength and power and let nothing else deviate that, because you don't know who you're following or who's going to guide you where. Do you understand me? So you need to be able to open your heart and trust your knowing. Trust your knowing, trust your power, trust it from within. It's your reality, not theirs, my friend. Okay? Anchor into the light each way you go. You need to pay attention to your circumstances and your surroundings. And when God says go, you need to go. When God says move, you need to move without hesitation or expecting anybody to move with you. Do you understand? Okay. If you do that, what is coming through is clarity. You will see clearer. Clarity is coming. Okay. Many blessings are in store, right? But you have to anchor into the light and be willing to get clarity on your dreams and bring them into a reality, no matter what anybody or anything says around you. Okay. This is actually a life lesson. I feel like within you, Roger, you're a people pleaser, and that might be your downfall. Trust that when you love yourself and you believe in your truth and you shine the light into it, the right ones will love you through it. Where love is conditional, run. Anchor in only to the love and the light and the blessings and the clarity of truth. Then others can follow. But it's going to take strength for you, my friend. Make sense? When God says move, move. You're going to need to move locations soon. When God says move, where he says move, where the door opens, go without hesitation, because the door will open. Go without hesitation, my friend. And you will have people around you going, oh, because that's how the shadow works. It's karma based. Yeah, it's going to be sooner than you know. So you need to make sure that you are seeing clearly. Okay. How do you do that? Our heart. Blessings and dreams reside within our heart anyways. Okay. Not our head, not the matrix. So the more you go into your heart and own your power, but you feel vulnerable doing that because you like to make other people happy. And that's not a bad thing, but we need to do it the right way. The way you're doing it is more of that emotional manipulation standpoint, and you can't do that. So you're going to feel vulnerable, and there's times where you might feel alone, but know that you're not. Clarity and belief, and bring your dreams into reality for maximum blessings. The new earth is heart-centered creations, not matrix. A lot of jobs will fall. And a lot of the false money will fall. But does that mean we're all going to suffer? No, my friends. The earth is not dying. Only the false doctrine is. You either rise out of it or you fall with it. Okay, that's why in this video is all right. That's what the Bible says Jesus is supposed to do. Give you the keys home. They're all here. 222222. I'm just looking so hard to get the hell out of here and to Dallas. Yes, I go to think because I want to, not for someone else. Exactly. But Roger, the way that you help others is inward helping you, because we're all connected. So understand that in an ascension, the more I use this, the more people might shut off, right? But the more I let my heart just do and more it guides me, and the more that I listen to that, the more others can see that and they feel that and they do the same. Okay, so that's how we affect each other on the ascension. Some people like De La Roca are meant to be out using his words. He's really good at that. That's him shining his light. Me, I do everything from Hertz music to the Return of Christ stuff. It's all here, but that's my purpose. That's how I shine my light. Okay, for you, you're going to shine your light standing in your power and following God's nudges, even when it seems scary and vulnerable and it takes you out of your comfort zone. That's how you're going to shine your light. And then you will clear the path for others to follow through. But never have expectations of who will and who doesn't deserve and who might not. You don't know. That's judgment. Okay? Nice. That's because you are a caregiver. That goes to the message that I just gave you. Yes. I love what Jasaint says. So this is what she says. Thank you for reiterating these messages again. Jasaint is in the past. She's in a new earth. She did it with me in real time as it was coming through over the last 4 years now. Always important to be open enough to hear these truths, because even though we hear them once, we sometimes need to hear them again. Even if I've been a follower of yours for 3 years, I still hear new depths to what you share. Exactly. That's why I tell people, you can't just watch the resurrection once and think you got everything. God is too vast. You can't watch me clearing Mount Shasta once and get bored and have your ego get in the way and say you don't have time for that. You better sit and watch it again. And then even sometimes I still watch them. I'm channeling them when I do them though. So I don't remember everything because I'm channeling. I'm a pure channel. I'm actually just channeling it through and doing the work. Some things I'll remember because it takes my physical energy or my light to do it, like activating the pyramids and things. Like, I don't think I could forget where I did those. Myanmar, Thailand, Budapest, Peru, Machu Picchu, Indonesia, Congo, Kilimanjaro, Zimbabwe, Kenya. These are the pyramids that I activated. And they're etched because it took my light to do so. And I would rotate them and fill them with this light. And my heart became enlarged. But even I have to watch my videos over again and go, oh. Like the other day, God had me watch the very first workshop I did. I didn't realize it was 4 years ago to this month that I started dividing the darkness from the light. That was the start of the division from the darkness of the light. And then I went in and I undid all darkness portals, undid all darkness contract, cleared the unholy grail, united all twin flames back, survived every battle, opened up the 13th gate to heaven when I cleared the Nile, Sekhmet time frame, all of that came through. And then the completion of the division of light was the eclipse that just occurred in the same month from the time 4 years ago I started the division from darkness to light. And I couldn't make this up if I tried. So I have to go back and go, when God tells me, he's like, hey, look at that. I'm like, oh. I remember when I finished all of the work, all of the pyramid activations, all of the clearings, all of the everything, God said, put it together. That's the path to righteousness. And I was like, what? It took me a long time. And he would have to remind me, yes, that's you. Yes, you're the scales of justice. Yes, it's you. Because that's hard to fathom, even for me. And I did it. Okay? So I don't ask you to understand in one sitting. When you need these, go back. Do it again. Yeah. Love it. Happy birthday to all the birthdayers. I'm going to tune out of here, find the love for my twin soul, and just create and do my thing and be with my kids. So I'm so thankful I got to do a healing on Layla. I love them so much. They're the most beautiful souls. So thank you for those who waited through me with that. Thank you to those who choose to see the truth and realize that things are not normal no matter which way you go. There's always more than meets the eye, because in order to stay, you must see the truth. Then you must heal them within you, and then you must not let them reintegrate again through lessons in disguise. That is how God knows you've learned the lesson in truth. Okay? So just because I can see it and I choose to heal it, did I really learn the lesson? Because I can't create it again in the new earth. It will never return again, that darkness. That's why I took us into 7D, not 5D. It can never come back again. Will we commingle with aliens? Yes, we will. This is in the energy big time right now. There were dark ones that were in cahoots. Yes, they were. Mount Shasta. A lot of the missing people, it was related to that. They had contracts with them that were undid. So some of those will fall. There was a ship in the Atlantic, I think it was, where we will find them and they might not be alive anymore. I talked about that when I was clearing one of the pyramid activations. Some of them are underwater, and I had to undock the station. And I said, it's in the Atlantic Ocean. And the beings in there have no hair. They have really big eyes and they're kind of gray. And I said, eventually we'll find them and they probably won't be alive anymore. Those ones have to go, but there's good ones that are starting to come around. And I talked about that a lot, because 7D is not just one existence, my friends. And then on the eclipse day, if you watched that one, I took us into the eclipse right as it started to hit. And all of a sudden, I tethered our hearts to the sun and the moon, and I spoke, and I called everybody home. And then there was an alien ship above the White House. I saw footage that somebody saw an alien in the sky that day, an alien ship. I was like, oh, look at that. Also, Jacinth, you and I talked about the Devil's Comet. I talked about that on one of my last videos before the eclipse. On the 2nd, her and I did a healing exchange. She went through my academy. I don't let everybody do healings on me. There's very few I can. Only those that know how to avoid the shadow. And so we did an exchange on the 2nd. In that exchange, her and I put up this barrier. And the comet was supposed to hit on the 7th and disappear. Nobody's seen it after the 7th, by the way. I saw that being proven. Everybody was like, I looked for the comet, the Devil's Comet on the 8th, and it wasn't to be found. Nobody saw it past the 7th, did you? Can you find it? No. So the proof is there for those who wish to see. It's constantly being proven. I spoke of the Devil's Comet. I said within 5 days, it will hit the barrier and fold into itself, and it won't see Earth anymore. She says, yes, the Devil's Comet got redirected in our healing exchange on the 2nd. And I said, in 5 days' time, it will lose sight of Earth and dissipate. And that was supposed to be the 7th. And past that day, nobody could see it anymore. The proof is there. You have to know what you're looking at. You have to be able to see the truth. So much love, my friends. I feel really drained and like there's been like attacks or something, like something's hitting me hard. So I'm going to go cleanse my energy, replenish, and call this one a day. So much love to you guys. So much love. Okay. It's not easy what we're going to go through, but united we stand and united they fall. It's the end of ways, not the end of days for all, but the end of ways for all. Through free will. Okay. Do people have karma to pay? Yes. The proof is right in front of us. Thank you for being a beacon of light for us all. And thank you for those who choose to stand strong against the shadow above all. It's not judgment, it's love. Find the love, unconditional. Where there is conditional, run. Don't fight shadow with shadow. As much as we want to say to the shadow for all the pain it's caused, just send it love and walk away. Okay? Choices in disguise. Don't eat your popcorn. That's disgusting. Because what's going to unfold is not always pleasant. Be in love. Love to you all. Much blessings. May you have a spectacular birthday and a great week ahead as well. So much love to all of you. Thank you for those who are open and do your research, because everything I say is proven and I can prove it time and time again. I've never met, by the way, in the beginning of this video, Steve and Layla came in. I've never met them. Layla had followed me for a couple years before she got a healing session with me. And I've only done healings with them. Like, I don't know them in real life. I've done a few healings for her. As you can see, it's always her that he brings forth with him. Very beautiful people. So there are people who work with me just because you don't see it. Okay. There are people who see the truth just because you may not yet. Just hold space and don't judge. It hurts you. And if at some point in time you did, be willing to say, look what I did and I'm sorry. Because once you do that, that's forgiveness and things change for you. Okay? So much love. Until next time, my friends, happy Emancipation Proclamation Freedom Day. Because it's been undone. Dun, 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 dun. I encourage you to watch Mount Shasta Part 1 and 2, because that was when I broke the pillars of Abraham Lincoln thing. And that's what today is. Did I know that? No. God showed me. So much love and peace all over the earth, not just for the Middle East. Bye, you guys. Bye.